Hello, Eurovision friends. Thank you so much for coming to my channel, Eurovision Histories. Eurovision 2024 has actually started. Yesterday was the first semi-final of the greatest competition in the world, and we have a lot of things to talk about. We finally have some real actual results. We have 10 countries that qualified to the final and some other countries that were unfortunately not lucky enough to make it. And we're going to talk about all of these performances, the qualification record as well. But I also want to talk about the two big five countries we saw yesterday, Germany and the UK. What did I think of these performances? And then also Sweden, of course. And I want to talk about the show as a whole, and I want to start with that. I really do like our two hosts, especially, of course, Petra. It was so fun to see the arena chant her name. She's now really a Eurovision icon. And for a reason, she was really fun again with the interactions. The jokes were good. Maureen Ackermann, in some cases, I felt like she wasn't actually necessary 100% because Petra is so good, but she did a pretty good job as well. It just seemed a bit more like acting than hosting in some cases, if that makes sense. I do like the color scheme that they were wearing because it kind of fits the theme of Eurovision this year. That was really fun. And I also like to see that Petra wore her slippers or like more comfortable shoes after a while. I know that she has some back problems, so I hope it's not because of that. But I kind of like to see that they are not wearing dresses and the high heels and everything. That was quite fun. The show as a whole is very well produced. We kind of expected that from Sweden. The stage is really cool as well. I do have to say that it seemed a bit big in some of the performances, and I thought, is it really necessary that the stage is this huge if we have to talk about the cost and reducing the cost for the future of Eurovision? I thought that in some cases maybe a smaller stage would have been enough as well. But of course, it looks amazing and great. You kind of saw that with Benjamin Ingrosso during the interval act. I don't really understand why he got that long of an interval act to perform his songs. But anyway, you really saw the great elements in the roof of the stage. Everything going on during that performance was really impressive. But that also makes you notice that a lot of the artists don't really use all the possibilities that the stage has. So why have it? I don't know. And then we have another interval act that was Johnny Logan, the king of Eurovision, two-time, three-time winner, singing the song of our two-time winner and now Queen of Eurovision, Loreen, Euphoria, in an orchestral version that was really subdued and nice and really beautiful, actually. It sounded much better in some of the rehearsals I saw, I have to say. He didn't quite get all of the notes, but a really nice idea as well from the hosts. And what I have to say, the postcards I also love a lot because you get like a glimpse back into history, really a feeling of how old this competition really is. I hope some of the countries also show footage from the 50s or 60s to really show the amazing history, and you kind of get nostalgia a little bit, seeing Marija Serifovic, for example, when Serbia came on. That is a really nice idea. I kind of think they could keep that for the next couple of years. And otherwise, the postcards I like quite a lot. So a good hosting by Sweden. Let's talk about the performances. First of all, the automatic qualifiers, Olly Alexander and Dizzy. You know that I've been on quite a roller coaster with this. When Olly Alexander was announced, I was very excited. Then the song came out, I wasn't as excited. Then the rehearsal came out, I was a bit more excited. And now I've seen the whole thing. It is very impressive. It looks like a music video for most of the performance. Amazing what the backing dancers are doing, like creating this illusion that he's in a box that is moving, that they are in a box that is moving and through space. And they all do that with their bodies. It's not really that the thing is moving. I don't think it's an optical illusion. Really, really cool. They perform it well. It's a bit over the top in some of the camera shots, especially these 30 seconds we saw in the rehearsal clip at the end of the performance. Bit too much for me personally, but I think people will like this. The real issue here was the vocals. They were not good, to be honest. It wasn't really on point. He did have a bit of a problem that his mic pack fell out, apparently, which might happen when you hang from the stage in a box. But anyway, so maybe this was the reason why he didn't quite hit all of the notes. But This kind of depends on a good jury vote, and if the vocals aren't perfect, that might be a bit difficult. So I hope they get it together until the final, and especially tie that mic pack better to his pants or whatever it is. So not too bad, but I'm not 100% over the moon with this either. Then Isaac and Always on the Run, amazing emotion, amazing voice. I mean, if we really only focus on that, this should do much better than people are expecting. And there is a small part of me that thinks maybe this year, maybe we're not coming last or second to last. Maybe the voice is actually enough to get a few jury votes, or actually a lot of jury votes. He does deserve it. He puts all of his emotion into that performance. The staging, I am a bit more positive about than I was after the rehearsal clips. I still don't understand why the fire stays on during when he goes from the chorus to the verse. I would turn it off and then turn it on again for the next chorus. Maybe that's technically not possible. I don't know. And overall, it's a bit, dark. I don't know. There's this big structure on the stage, and you don't really understand what it has to do with the song. I do think that they did a good job with the lights and everything that is going on around this big structure, but I don't really think it was necessary, to be honest. Focus on him, focus on his voice, and that would have been enough. But we also have some fire in the background that adds a bit of depth to the whole thing, so that is good. And I'm kind of hopeful that we're not coming last. Let's see what I tell you on Sunday, probably that we did come last again for reasons beyond my understanding. Then Marcus and Martinez, of course, the arena went crazy for this. They're the home boys, even though they're from Norway. I love that Petra Mede mentioned Celine Dion, who also was not from the country that she represented. Anyway, great, slick performance. Not that much to say. Exactly the same, almost as in Melodifestivalen. This will do quite well with the juries, I do think. The televote, I'm not 100% sure, but I think lower top 10 for this might be possible. And now we get to the non-qualifiers. Very sad for some of them for all of them actually, that they didn't make it. They all delivered quite good performances. There wasn't like a complete car crash or anything like that. But still, I kind of understand why most of them didn't qualify for Hera Björk and Scared of Heights. I just think it was too nostalgic, too outdated, too boring in a way, in a very loud and visually and musically loud semifinal. She didn't really stand out, and especially coming after, I think, Croatia, people were still like woo with vibing with Croatia, and then you have Iceland, and it just fell a bit flat, I think. And also the fact that the backing singers weren't with her, I think that was the wrong decision. I don't think it would have qualified either way, but I love her still. Great that she came back. I hope she comes back some other year with a better song, because that's the main reason why this didn't make it. Very similar for Natalia Babu. I like her a lot, but just standing there delivering this song that isn't as exciting in itself, if I can say that, and then the screensaver kind of background stuff. It was very beautiful at times, but then also you thought, what is this trying to tell me? What is going on? Or is it just trying to distract me and trying to be beautiful, which probably was what it was. They didn't really play out the whole violin playing thing, so I kind of very much expected that this wouldn't make it. Moldova had qualified for 3 years in a row, so this is the first non-qualification in a while. And this also means that the two artists that were returning artists, Hera Björk and Natalia Babu, are both out, and we have a fully new final, so to speak. No returnees in the final for the first time in a very long time, I do think as well. Then we have Fari for Azerbaijan. Not as surprised that this didn't make it either, because it was a cool song, but the staging didn't really do a lot. There wasn't a lot happening. They were very far apart from each other, and this futuristic staging didn't really fit my feeling of the song with these very traditional elements as well. It would have been cool if he was futuristic and the Mugham singer was in more traditional clothes maybe, or something like that, more interaction between them as well. And the song itself might not have been strong enough to make it in this very strong semi-final. This is the third time that Azerbaijan doesn't make it to the final, and actually the second year in a row. So we shall see whether they change anything. I think they should stick with going for local talent, singing in their own language. I hope they don't draw the wrong conclusion from this and start buying, these international pop songs again. We shall see what happens. Then we have Australia, Electric Fields, second non-qualification for Australia. And I think a lot of this came down to the vocal performance a little bit, because it wasn't great yesterday. It sounded better in the rehearsals, I do think. There were a few moments that were really noticeable that something wasn't quite right. And so watching it, I thought, okay, yeah, my prediction is wrong and this probably won't make it. Still liked the song quite a lot. I did think that the staging could have been more together, more cohesive, everything performing it together, which is also why I think that the stage is sometimes a bit too big, actually. I love the addition of the didgeridoo player, but in the end, it wasn't a big shock that this didn't make it in the end. A bit more of a shock was this. Shock, I don't know, because when you saw the performance, I thought, if this makes it, it's because of the diaspora and not so much because of the song, even though I have the song stuck in my head, I have to say. The performance was just too over the top. There was too much happening. It didn't tell a story. Like, why is she on a red horse? Why are there these towers, even though the song is about a tower? Why are there 3 different backing dancers? I didn't quite get it. And then the big problem with this one, I think, was the vocals. They were not good. And she had a lot of bad luck, I think, as well, coming right after Ukraine, this very emotional performance with a great vocal performance. And then this comes on stage and it's this very, sweet vocal tone, but also a very quiet voice. I think the sound mixing wasn't good at the beginning either, and it just felt very flat. And then right after her was Croatia, and all the energy that brings to the stage. So I think she was a bit unlucky, but I also think that this probably didn't qualify for all the reasons I just mentioned. Baby Lasagna, by the way, said they asked him during the press conference, what were you doing right before going on stage? And he said, I was vibing with the tower because that's the song that played right before it, which shows you what a cool guy he is. These are the non-qualifiers. As I've said, I wasn't as surprised. I was a bit surprised that some of the qualifiers made it, but there are reasons to find why these 5 countries in the end didn't make it to the final. So let's get to the qualifiers. The lucky countries that are in the final. Luxembourg made it. Last one to be called. I was a bit worried that they might be out and then might not return next year. I think now we can be quite certain that they will return next year. And maybe this will get some other smaller countries, Monaco, Andorra, to consider coming back as well, especially if maybe San Marino also qualifies tonight. The performance was really good. The staging is very well done for this one. There's augmented reality with the leopards that appear on the screen. She sang it really well. She engaged with the camera. The backing dancers were very good as well. And especially there were some moments where the lights were just very incredible. It looked like a concert, a huge concert hall, which it is. What am I saying? Like the lights were really impressive for this one. And so it qualified for a reason. And it's partly in French. So that it's the first one that is partly in national language. Then Tiadora and Ramonda. I was a bit worried for this one because it was so early on in the running order. Quite dark, quite slow as well. But someone said, well, after Eleni Foureira, Chanel, and then Celia Kapsis, maybe people needed a breather and maybe this was it. I do think that Croatia and Slovenia being in the semifinal probably helped a little bit, but she performed it really well. There were some moments during the rehearsals where the vocal performance wasn't 100%. I think yesterday she did it 100%. Well done. And the staging is quite beautiful as well. There's lots of dramatic moments with the lights as well. So well done, Serbia. Then this one I predicted not to qualify until the last moment. I was kind of sure that this might not qualify, but then when they called it as the 7th or 8th country, I thought, yeah, okay, So some other country isn't making it. I thought maybe Luxembourg or Poland, and then in the end, Poland didn't make it. This is what it is. It's a girl bop performance with backing dancers, a bit Britney Spears, it looks like to me. There's a dance break, but it isn't a song that makes me excited. But I do understand why this qualified, because there's an audience, of course, for this kind of song. And so I'm quite happy for her. And so Australia is at least a little bit represented in the final this year as well. This one, not a surprise that this made it to the final. I mean, tell me what you think of this performance, but I think it is very, very scary, incredible, epic, well done, enhances the song, really, really good. The first qualification for Ireland since 2018. So they really went out there, they did something different. They really also got the staging completely right for once, and they were rewarded. So you can see it's not about the country, it's about the song and the performance that you do, and then anyone can qualify, I do think. We can see that here. Bambi Thug, incredible performer. I love this story that the song does tell now with the backing dancer. I didn't really realize that during the rehearsals, who's kind of the demon that Bambi Thug is kind of winning against, because a spell is cast and then he falls to the ground at the end of the performance. So there is a story that is told, and visually it's very good. The song itself is still not my favorite 100%, but I think it's intriguing because of the switch of genres as well. So well done, Ireland, and we shall see what this does in the final. I think a top 10 is actually possible. Then Sylvester Weld and Luke Telk, professional, solid performance as always. Not a surprise that this made it. Great use of the different lights as well during the performance. The different color schemes made by the lights. That is really a cool way to make the performance more interesting without having 100 props on the stage. And it makes it seem more elegant as well than having two huge towers, for example, on the stage. So well done, Lithuania. And we shall see where this ends up in the end. This one, I was a bit surprised as well, because I predicted this not to qualify. Not that I didn't want it to qualify, that's something else. I am very happy that this is in the final. She performed the hell out of this. Very great connection with the camera. There is this eerie feeling you get when you watch her perform. The vocals were impressive, incredible. It was a quite simple performance. That is why I thought that it might not convince enough televoters, but maybe sometimes less is more. Very happy for Slovenia. Another year they are in the final, and I hope that means that they stay around. Then Windows 95 Man, there was a bit of hope that I had that this might not make it, but it is just too fun of a performance. All of these camera angles, you can see one there where you don't really know whether he's wearing pants or not. It has gotten tired for me, but I know that first-time viewers will find this funny. And actually, to be honest, I have to be honest, when he puts on the shorts and he has the fireworks, I laughed again, even though I knew what was coming. So this will get a very healthy televote, and I was not surprised that this made it in a 100% televote semi-final. Then this one is incredible. Of course, Ukraine has a 100% qualification rate, so not very surprising that they made it in the end. But this was also a very, very good performance. I already said that Luna from Poland kind of suffered from coming after this, because Jerry Heil's vocals are just very anthemic and epic, and they hit you to your core. And the whole performance is made to be very dramatic, very Eurovision also, to have first this scene where she's going up the slope. Then you have the rapper coming in, Alyona, who I love. I love these two, by the way, in interviews. They're so fun and funny in a way also. Alyona raps the hell out of that part as well, and then they come together. There's this one moment where you see a graphic, like a pre-recorded version of Jerry Heil. That one is a bit too much for me, a bit too dramatic maybe, but I also like the armor that she has on, kind of symbolizing this figure of Ukraine maybe as well, and them coming together in the end, lying on the floor, and there are all of these women around them really drives home the message of the song. That part I really like. And this is a kind of performance that I want to see again. I've seen it 3 times already, and I will watch it again and again because it is so epic and so great. She's fighting against the water. She's coming out of a valley. I mean, it's very epic and really well done. And kind of this feeling, I want to see that again. I have that with a few songs. I had that with Måneskin, with Shum, with all of these songs that did well in the end. And so I do think that this will do really, really well and is still in contention for the win, I do think. Then we have Yolanda and Grito, and I emitted a grito when this qualified. I was so happy that this actually made it. I was a bit worried, but I think for no reason, because when I saw that performance, it's just so elegant and so beautiful. I mean, and really kudos to Europe and Australia in a way, because they voted for this, a ballad in a national language. They voted for Serbia, a ballad in a national language, over some more flashier songs. So I'm really happy that even the televoters saw the quality in this and voted for it. And now that it's in the final, I can actually see this do really well in the jury vote, like top 5 in the jury vote, and be a top 10 entry in the end. It actually deserves it 100%. I love the song. I have said that 100 times. And we have seen the choreography. That's kind of the same from Festival da Canção. She said in the press conference that the choreography is meant to, you can pause it at any time and you have kind of an artwork. And I really love that idea. And it's true, there are all of these different positions that they take, and it's a different story that the whole choreography tells as well. Really cool. But what really added to this is that they stuck with a black and white staging. The cubes were in black and white, things changing. It kind of added a lot of dynamics to the performance, and vocally this was 100%. So well done, Portugal. And I hope that they don't stick her. Wait, I have here where they will perform producer's choice. If they actually stick her in second place again or something like that, I will not be happy. To be honest, I'll tell you all the positions in the final later on. They drew that at the press conference or after the press conference. So we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go on with the next one. Rim Tim Tagidim, Baby Lasagna. I think this might win. I think this is the big contender to win now, obviously, according to the odds. But also my feeling is the way the whole arena chanted with him, the wall parts, the whole arena also did the dance. And they had these glow sticks that created such a cool visual. And you really have this concert feeling, people going along with the energy of it all. He was incredible vocally. The energy was there. There were a few moments where the connection to the camera could be a bit better. He actually said that in the press conference himself. But I also love the color schemes that have been changed, like neon green, then the normal stage as you can see it there, then neon red, and the animals in the background. I love it. I don't think it really tells the story of the song, which is a bit of a pity, but it does create the energy that is necessary to win the televote. I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for Baby Lasagna. And if he actually makes it, I will be over the moon. Well done. Well done. These are all the performances. So let's look at quickly who will perform where, because they drew that. Germany will be in the first half, Ireland as well, Lithuania, Luxembourg, and the UK. They all drew first half. So I'm kind of thinking maybe Sylvester Belt might, well, no, opening will be Sweden. We already know that. So Sylvester Belt might be third or fourth or something like that. I think they will give Luxembourg a pretty good running order because they want them to stick around. You kind of noticed that in the semifinal. The only interview before the voting closed was with Luxembourg. So maybe a little bit unfair, but I think returning after such a long time kind of warrants that. Then in the producer's choice, we have Italy. We already knew that. Croatia, Portugal, Serbia, Ukraine. Ukraine. So a lot of the favorites, Italy, Croatia, Ukraine, all in the producer's choice. So I'm kind of thinking that producers cannot give the big favorites a bad running order spot. So I'm kind of worried now for Portugal and Serbia seeing this, because they may have to, fill some of the less great spots in the final. And then in the last part, Slovenia and Cyprus drew second half, as did Finland, and France is also there. So that's actually good for Slovenia, maybe, because Ireland will perform in the first half, Slovenia in the second half. We shall see. And Cyprus in the second half, which might give it a bit of an edge with the other girl bobs that will probably qualify from semifinal 2, like Georgia, maybe Malta, even though I can't quite see that. By the way, I will be doing my prediction for semifinal 2 very, very soon. So do subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and come back later on today. I will watch the dress rehearsal today and then give you my very fresh impressions on who will qualify from semifinal 2 tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I love reading your comments as well. Thank you for participating in everything and letting me know when I am wrong or when I'm right. Very respectfully, I really like that. So thank you so much, and I'll see you for my next video. See you then, and bye-bye.